Chassity was close with her mother and sisters growing up. There was no father around, and the women needed to fend for themselves on the whole, but Chassity was always curious about who her father was and had dreams of meeting him one day, somehow, somewhere. Hello, wonderful people. I'm Scott Leffler for WonderBot. And here is when this woman got a DNA test, she found her father in the most unexpected place. Before we begin, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe to our channel, and click the notification bell for more amazing videos. Chassity asked her mom for years about who her father was, but her mother was anything but forthcoming with the information. Following a falling out she had with her mother's side of the family, she started asking more questions in her quest to find her dad. Chassity's upbringing was much like that of any other kid her age. She was living in a single mother situation, but as she knew nothing else, she was never really missing having a male figure around. She was curious about who her father was, though, as were her sisters. For whatever reasons, and certainly reasons unknown to Chassity, her mother always went quiet when the subject of their father came up. She always noticed the grimace on her mother's face when Dad was mentioned, and she never revealed any information about him or his whereabouts whatsoever for decades. Chassity felt different, like she was hard to love or something, and was keen to meet up with her biological father who she'd never met. Why did she feel at odds so often? Why did she feel something was wrong at home? So many questions, but with so few answers, Chassity decided to take her plight to social media. Chassity was already pretty active on Twitter, going by the username AntiChass. But when she decided to share the details of her struggle to find her father, it went viral. And many people from around the world started following her interesting story. So it's time to storytell on here about the past 7 days of my life. Sit around, kiddos, because it might get good, she wrote. That certainly got many people's attention as Chassity explained that she'd just joined the Ancestry.com website and was waiting for a DNA kit so she could find out for real where she came from. When the DNA test kit arrived in the mail, Chassity was excited but nervous. She even considered forgetting the whole thing as she didn't want to shake things up in her life. But she was still overly curious. She plucked up all her courage and sent a sample of her saliva to Ancestry, waiting patiently for the results. As soon as it arrived, I gave my sample and sent it right off, she wrote. Results came in last Monday, she added. But did the DNA test give Chassity the answers she'd been so desperate for all this time? Or was she going to be disappointed by the results? Chassity was under pressure, but she went ahead and opened the envelope. Chassity's a black woman raised by a black mother, so she was shocked when the DNA test revealed that she had a bunch of European ancestry in her. She approached her mother once again, this time armed with the DNA results, and asked her point blank who her real father was. Chassity showed the results to her mom, who eventually decided to reveal the truth to her daughter. She told her dad's name, and when Chassity looked him up, she was stunned to find out that this man lived in the same state as her, just 20 minutes away. Chassity was still nervous about the whole thing, but was happy to finally be able to put the puzzle pieces of her life in place. On Twitter, she wrote, "First time in my entire life, someone who looks like me," she wrote. But now Chassity needed to pluck up the courage to reach out and contact him for the first time. While Chassity would have done anything to meet her dad, she was also having second thoughts. For 31 years, she had no contact with this man, and she felt weird suddenly interrupting his life like this. "I knew it was him, so next is drumming up the courage to interrupt his life," she tweeted. Chassity finally decided one morning that enough was enough. She sent a simple message to the man she knew to be her real father and waited patiently for a response. The waiting was excruciating for her, but she knew she had to sit it out. What would this man's reaction be? As Chassity explained online, the next morning, Friday, I was anxious for a response. I didn't know if he even knew about me or would even accept I was possibly his child. But then the remarkable revelation came to light that her dad had been looking for her for years. Chassity was blown away by the response from this seemingly nice man. He told her that he was thrilled that she'd made contact and told her that he'd also been looking for her. That made her feel loved and wanted, and all of her anxiety over the matter dissipated rapidly. Having exchanged a few messages, Chassity and her father decided to make plans to meet up in person. When they met, Chassity described the event as life-changing, according to a Bet.com report. She looked like her dad, even down to the cute dimples on her face. The first thing Chassity did was to take a selfie with her dad, then and there, Soon after Chassity sat down with her dad for the first time, he produced an old photo album he had. Not only was there a picture of Chassity as a baby in the album, but there was also a picture of another girl who turned out to be Chassity's sister she never even knew she had. While Chassity didn't really care about skin color, she had been raised to believe she was African American. The fact that it turned out that her father is half white and European was another interesting revelation for Chassity. That was also a fact her mother had purposely hidden from her for 31 years. The last thing Chassity wanted was to cause an argument or to fall out with her mother. As she explained, "I told her I'm not upset, but I know she's not being truthful since I know for sure my father's half white," she wrote. "My identity, which includes my last name, were lies," she added. Chassity explained to the world of social media that meeting her real father had changed her perception of herself and her worldview. "I lived my whole life like I was fatherless," she wrote. She also explained that meeting him and discovering she had a sister she never met gave her a sense of feeling complete and a sense of contentment. Chassity was moved to tears when her father showed her the lone picture of her that he'd kept for all those years. He explained that he had yearned to see her again and had even tried to find her on more than one occasion. She now says she has a true sense of having a father's love and encouraged others looking for relatives to go for it and to make it an adventure.